Hey guys, Ryan Young, Kama Jiu-Jitsu. Hope all is well with you guys. Anyway, I got a question from Enigma Man 1 and I guess another subscriber named Derek Leroy, I'm not sure, also concurred with him. So if two of them mention this, I might as well get on it, right? Enigma Man 1's question had to do with, and I'm not reading it right now, so I have to kind of paraphrase. What do you do if you have a low BJJ IQ? He's been training 18 months, 3 times a week, and I think he only has 1 stripe on his white belt, maybe 2. So here's the thing. A low BJJ IQ, and here's what I interpret it to be, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is somebody who, despite training a lot, despite training regularly, without fail, tends to pick some things up very slowly and ends up getting beaten out by guys who started well after him. Now that is a common thing that occurs. There is no, and I mentioned in my belt standards that you do have general time frames for when things happen. But we're not all the same, and that's why you just have guidelines. You don't actually have rules for that. Which is why it makes it hard, because we're so used to our primary school, middle school, high school, college, and all that. College is a little different, but primary, middle, and high school, you have a set school year, and everybody's expected to get through kindergarten at a certain age, then through first grade at a certain age. And so everybody's expected, and we're conditioned to believe that we need to get through everything at set time intervals, regardless of who we are. Now that's wrong. So that's why you have some kids get left behind during a certain grade and other kids get jumped forward. Now, it's very rare when you see those instances where you see somebody get jumped forward or left behind, but it does happen. Now in Jiu-Jitsu though, there's no real set criteria for most people, because most instructors don't have a curriculum. However though, I gotta kind of maintain though, a lot of instructors do have time criteria, like what we have in our schools. So for those who do have time criteria, we call those timeline academies. For those academies that are timeline academies that may not necessarily have a set curriculum, but believe that if you come to class regularly, let's say you come 3 times a week and you do it for 2 years, that will put you at blue belt, because the understanding is that everybody who comes to class, they'll get a certain amount of knowledge, and over the course of 2 years, you'll be at a blue belt level. That's a timeline academy. Whereas a curriculum-based academy will say, forget the timeline, you need to learn this and this and this technique by the time, I don't know, maybe not even time. And once you learn those techniques, then you are a blue belt. Does that make sense? So you have 2 academies. In one academy, to get you through, maybe they'll get you through to blue belt in 2 years. Another academy will get some people through in 1 year and some people through in 3 years. Because the person who takes 3 years would be the person that you would then say has your low BJJ IQ. Or the person who gets there in 1 year is your high BJJ IQ, and the person who gets there in 2 years is your average BJJ IQ. Timeline academies assume everyone is average, and that the average person, which would be everybody, would get to blue belt, let's say, in 2 years. So that's where you have these people that are doing really, really well and are just beating the snot out of everybody after a year, but they're having to sit and wait at white belt for another full year because they haven't met the timeline requirement. Or you'll see people who, and I've seen it happen, that are black belts and have been training for 10 or 15 years. So the instructor figures, heck, you've been training 10 or 15 years. You're a black belt, because you've been training for this long. But then you see that person step foot on the mat and get destroyed by a lower belt. Now, granted, it might be a lower belt who's pretty good, but technically, as far as what they know, it's still a lower belt. If you're a black belt, you should know a lot more than what the lower belt will get you with. Now, that lower belt may have a high Jiu-Jitsu IQ or a high physicality, but he's still a blue belt. Otherwise, he needs to be a black belt just like you, given a lot of criteria, a lot of schools' criteria that says if you're beating black belts, you're a black belt. Yes and no. So if you look at it in those perspectives, you know, the 1 year, 2 year, 3 year blue belt. If you're the 3 year blue belt, so what? What are you worrying about? Just keep training. You know, you ever hear of those people who, when taking calculus, they just have to work a little harder to get it? They have to do, you know, instead of being able to just look at it and understand it right away, they have to look and look and look and look and think about it, work on it, practice it, and then they get it. They have to spend 3 hours doing their calculus homework versus the other kid who spends 30 minutes. But yet, when they get to the exam time, they both get A's. That's just what it is. We're all different. And just accept that you're different. Somebody comes in after you and beats you, so what? Doesn't matter. In the meantime, you know, you have to think that at some point, you're not always going to be like that. You know, while I was a purple belt, I felt like I was getting passed up by a lot of people that started after me. In fact, I know a lot of people who are black belts, who've been black belts longer than me, but yet started way after me. It could be because their instructor might have been a timeline instructor and mine weren't, right? I don't know, it doesn't matter who's better or what, but the fact is they got it and I didn't. And for a little while, I might have thought about it. In fact, my cousin, Shell Young, who runs Taco Jiu-Jitsu, our affiliate in Hawaii, I gave him his first lesson in the mid-90s. I was a purple belt. And he got his black belt. You know, granted, I kind of slacked off, whereas he was training every day. He was a training monster. And I wasn't for a number of years. So he's been a black belt longer than I have been, and he started after me. So what? It doesn't matter. There are people that I know that started before me and that are still blue belts or purple belts. It doesn't matter. Just do your thing. Just keep plugging away and you'll get there. And, you know, once I reached black belt, it was a weird thing. Once I got to black belt, I started to understand jiu-jitsu a lot better. And I guess my Jiu-Jitsu IQ went way up. And it got to a point where I could see what's going on, and I'll know when I'm watching somebody train. I can watch them from afar and I can see what's going on. But for the longest time, especially through purple belt, I'd be sitting down with friends watching and they'll go, "Did you see that?" I'm like, "No, see what?" I didn't get it. I didn't understand. They go, "Oh, he did this and this and this, and because he did that, he got to this particular submission." Oh, no, I didn't see that, right? But now I see it. So eventually it'll kick in for you. Just plug away. You'll be fine. All right? Anyway, if you have any further questions, just go ahead and comment below or message me at kamajujitsu@gmail.com, kamajujitsu@gmail.com, or hit us on the Facebook page. Dave or I will get to you. And if you have questions for any of our other professors, just put in a note and I'll send it off. Anyway, that's all I got for you. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for liking. Hit the little bell there to get the updates when we do these. And happy training. Take care. Bye-bye.